In 2019, the measles virus, or morbillivirus, cases have risen up to 839, the most we've seen in any year in the past 25 years. This is due to parents not giving their children their daily essential oils. Hi, I'm Dr. Herbert Humphrey, and I'm an employee of the Center of Disease Control, and I have been for the past 30 years of my life. Recently, I've come to the conclusion that we need to steer away from vaccines. And I will add the fact that I have strong and totally not fake evidence to back up my claims. In my studies, I have discovered that the side effects of vaccinating your children actually outweigh the benefits. In a study conducted by Facebook Mom 123, we have discovered that 97% of vaccinated children develop a tail or a third leg. On the other hand, 0% of unvaccinated children develop any sort of abnormalities in their body. But what is in these vaccines that is causing these deformalities? To discuss the science behind this, I would like to introduce my good friend and fellow scientist, Dr. Harold Sputnik.
Thank you, Dr. Humphrey, for the strong introduction. As more and more people continue to use vaccines, we consistently see more abnormalities. The correlation is uncanny between these two. One of the main causes we see in common vaccines is the strong presence of aluminum. The aluminum builds up in your brain vortex and causes the painful growth of limbs throughout your body. This is scientifically proven by me and my mom as we ran a highly advanced scientific experiment out of our basement. Unfortunately, the test results were flooded during Hurricane Harvey and all patients and lab results were terminated. But fortunately, there are many examples still alive walking around in our daily lives. We recently had our news reporter, Harry Pitts, out on the scene with some of the poor victims from the vaccine dilemma.
So our first patient was vaccinated at the age of 2. Ever since then, he has been growing a tail and hasn't stopped to this day. Not only that, but he has developed spasms that happen 135 times a minute. He is a victim of the vaxxer movement that is sweeping the nation, leaving kids looking like this. When do these side effects start happening?
So my mother started to notice it a few months after I was injected with the poison. First, it was these awful rashes that you can still see here have left me scarred and damaged. Next, it was these awful ticks that developed throughout my body that happened out of nowhere. And lastly, I developed a long tail that grows along with all of my body. It's awful.
So how has this affected your daily life?
Yes, simple tasks such as drinking water is very difficult now as the tremors in my hand don't allow me to pick up the water bottle. Also, I'm treated very differently at school as many of my friends aren't vaccinated themselves. Granted, a lot of them did die from the eradicated disease polio, but that's besides the point. I am seen as an outcast, as some sort of loser in my society as my teachers and my students treat me differently every day.
So what do you say to those that are for vaccines?
Please guys, just do your research. My parents didn't know of the consequences whenever they put this poison inside my body. It has caused me many sufferable nights and a lot of pain. And I just don't want anyone else to have to go.
Did your tail... Cut the camera. Here we are with patient 2, who has developed glass bones due to being vaccinated. This means that he must be protected constantly or else he will simply fall apart. So, what do you think caused the vaccines to do?
To start off, I would like to say this is the government's fault. They are making us weak physically and mentally so that we won't resist the New World Order. They are altering our DNA so that we become lizard people. Next, they're going to send us into the FEMA camps, just like they put the aborted babies.
Back to the question at hand. So what do you think we should do to combat these diseases?
You see, the thing about these well-known scientists at the CDC, even though they are well-trained professionals who have studied disease for years and years, what they get wrong is that the measles is actually a natural disease that is beneficial for your immune system. It is a natural childhood disease that every child gets at a young age. This comes from my credible source, Melanie's Marvelous Measles. That's a real source, I'm not even kidding. If anything, it would be great for our youth to understand, to actually experience the measles and polio, for them to understand that they are lucky to have not been vaccinated.
Thank you for the insight on this terrible issue. Back to you, Herbert.
Thank you very much, Harry. Excellent work out there in the trenches of this chaotic world full of vaccinated people.
Thank you guys so much for choosing not to vaccinate your kids. You guys stay safe out there.